Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for those kind words. I'm very honored to share something with you as respective chairman of the Ways and Means. However, for me, it's a lot of ways but no means, so that's where we're different. But really, thank you all of you for this invitation for me to join you this afternoon. I never did very well in English when I went to school in Michigan, so I put my thoughts into short remarks in paper. But before I do want to share with you that this has been an interesting week in Washington, D.C. As some of you may know, there's been a gathering of Pacific Island leaders here in Washington. And this has been a really good opportunity for all of us to renew our friendship with the United States and meet government officials and basically kind of remind them that there are those friends of the United States out there in the Pacific, however small we are. As you know, in the Pacific, those in the South are closely affiliated with the French government. Those in the middle are closely associated with Australia and New Zealand. And those of us in the North are closely associated with the United States. And mainly that's the Republic of Palau, Marshalls, and the Federated States of Micronesia. And of course, in that same area is the territory of Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas Island Saipan, which are very close insular areas of the United States. But I wanted to share the importance of this Micronesian challenge. You know, before I came, we are also going through a drought. Our water systems is dependent on rainfall. So you might wonder why in the tropical islands do people go without water? But actually we depend on rainfall to fill the water dams. And recently, the effects of La Nina, the opposite of El Nino, has been affecting our islands. So it's a phenomenon of El Nino, La Nina, coral bleaching. All of these are happening as a result also of climate change and global warming. And I have to be frank and say that in the islands, we are actually seeing the front end of these phenomena that are occurring. And so, Micronesian challenge is not only being undertaken because of the simple conservation of good things, but it's really the conservation of our own sustainability, our own livelihood, the essence of our survival, really. But I do want to thank the United States for they have been very supportive of this kind of challenge through the World Bank and through funding of GEF. Because now what is really needed in our part of the world is adaptation and mitigation. And this is important for projects such as the Micronesian Challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to address the Caucus of Congressional Leaders committed to U.S. leadership in international conservation. I am also pleased to see some of the world's largest and most influential environmental groups working with this caucus. In Micronesia, we strongly believe that the partnership between elected leaders and international organizations is one of the keys to successful conservation of our islands and throughout the world. We are honored that the United States has declared this the Year of the Pacific in recognition of our strong ties that go back over 2 centuries. Today, I want to share with you a very exciting environmental initiative in my sub-region of the Pacific. I also want to highlight some important opportunities for the U.S. to join your Pacific Island neighbors to advance island conservation across the Pacific and around the world. In Micronesia, we have pinned many of our hopes and aspirations for a sustainable future on the Micronesian Challenge. And yes, this is not a extreme fighting challenge. It's an exciting new collaborative conservation effort by 5 governments across the Northern Pacific, including the United States. The Micronesian Challenge is a commitment by the Republic of Palau, the Republic of the Marshall Islands, the Federated States of Micronesia, and 2 U.S. jurisdictions, the Territory of Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, to effectively conserve at least 30% of our nearshore marine resources and 20% of our terrestrial resources by the year 2020. Covering 6.7 million square kilometers of ocean, the Micronesian Challenge represents more than 20% of the Pacific Island region and 5% of the largest oceans in the world. In terms of environmental impact, the challenge will help protect at least 66 threatened species that we know of, and 10% of the global total reef area, and 462 coral species. That is 58% of all known corals. While the Micronesian Challenge reflects a sub-regional effort, it is certainly not a stand-alone initiative. Rather, it is part of a much larger and growing commitment by island nations throughout the world to take the international lead in preserving primary ecosystems. This commitment, known as the Global Island Partnership, is a partnership between island jurisdictions that developed during the Mauritius International Meeting in January of 2005, and now represents the interest of over 500 million people in over 130,000 islands. The challenge and the Global Island Partnership recognize that our island jurisdictions are ecologically, culturally, and politically connected and must take regional and global approaches to maximize our abilities to implement conservation measures and to access technical and funding assistance from governments and private partners at all levels. We also believe that if our islands stand united and move forward together to preserve our environments, we can truly serve as world leaders and help move the whole world towards our goal of a sustainable future. The concept of the Micronesian Challenge was first presented at the United States Coral Reef Task Force meeting held in Palau in late 2005. Shortly thereafter, the challenge was formally presented to the world community in Curitiba, Brazil, at the 8th Conference of the Parties under the Convention on Biological Diversity. Since that auspicious moment, we have made significant progress in implementing our challenge at home. Together, we are working on a Micronesian Challenge action plan and specific agreements on coordination, reporting, and the engagement of traditional and community leaders. Through this action plan, we hope to institutionalize the challenge in our respective jurisdictions and in our region. On the financial level, our 5 jurisdictions are currently working together and separately to establish the necessary funding mechanisms to implement the challenge. In Palau, with help from the Nature Conservancy, we have developed a 2-pronged financial sustainability plan for our protected area networks, or better known as PAN. This plan envisions the creation of a domestic revenue source of approximately 1.8 million per year and the development of an endowment fund to generate an additional $600,000 per year. Together, these 2 funding sources will allow Palau to establish the first self-funded protected area network program in the developing world. Thank you. Similar financial planning for the FSM, RMI, Guam, and CNMI are also underway. In response to the challenge, the Nature Conservancy, TNC, and Conservation International, CI, have jointly committed $6 million to Palau, the FSM, and the RMI to be matched by $12 million from local, regional, and international partners to reach a sustainable financing goal of $18 million for the first phase of the challenge. Upon completion of more comprehensive financial plans, a new funding target will be developed to achieve the long-term goals of the challenge. Through the Global Island Partnership, we are working closely with island leaders from island nations and nations with islands to accelerate conservation leadership and action in the Pacific region and the world. Fiji made the first bold national commitment to conserve in 2005 at the Mauritius meeting, pledging to conserve 30% of its marine resources by 2020. At the same high-level event in Curitiba, at which the Micronesian Challenge was introduced, the government of Kiribati declared the establishment of the Phoenix Islands as the third largest marine protected area in the world. And the government of Grenada committed to conserve 25% of its marine and land resources by 2020. And just in June last year, the United States government joined the state of Hawaii in creating the spectacular Northwestern Hawaiian Island Marine National Monument, surpassing Australia's world-famous Great Barrier Reef Marine Park in size. All of these outstanding initiatives are benefiting from greater collaboration and communication due to the Global Island Partnership. And in October of 2006, at the last annual Pacific Island Leaders Forum in Fiji, all member countries agreed to recognize and support the Micronesian Challenge, to develop similar commitments to conservation, and to invite regional and international development partners to support these efforts with strong technical and funding support. The leaders also requested assistance in understanding, analyzing, and applying sustainable finance mechanisms that will permit us to manage our resources cost effectively into the future. This request was met with strong support, and a working group has been established to follow through on this regional commitment. At the forum meetings, United States Ambassador Larry Dinger highlighted U.S. interest in supporting and increasing collaboration with Micronesia and the wider Pacific. A first step was taken this January when the U.S. co-hosted our Sea of Islands meeting in Honolulu, the first opportunity in over a decade for all Pacific Islanders, from countries, from territories, and states, to share expertise in developing and managing important marine areas. This is just the beginning of what is possible if we work together. My friends, our 5 jurisdictions are moving aggressively forward with the Micronesian Challenge, and other island jurisdictions are joining us. We know that if we protect and preserve our marine and terrestrial environments, economic benefits will increasingly flow our way. And even more importantly, we will preserve the heritage of our forefathers, which stand as the foundation of our cultures. The United States, ladies and gentlemen, is a critical partner in the Micronesian Challenge, and we invite you to play a leading role in global conservation through the Global Island Partnership. This year of the Pacific is the perfect time to increase collaborations between Hawaii, your United States island territories, and your Pacific neighbors. We would all benefit greatly from sharing experiences and expertise in marine resource protection, forest and watershed management, invasive species, and other critical island issues. For Palau, the Micronesian Challenge is the prime program focus in our efforts to ensure that we develop in a sustainable manner. But it is much more than a national, sub-regional, or regional environment plan of action. It is also a call to arms to the international community to take the health of our planet seriously and to initiate the necessary actions on a global level to respond to the physical degradation of our planet. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, at its beginning, the Micronesian Challenge is a vision for a healthier future. For this vision to become a reality, our efforts requires the understanding, the commitment, and the support of our closest partners. The region has taken great strides in converting the Micronesian Challenge from just an idea to a vision with concrete commitments by all within our respective jurisdictions and our partners. In this year of the Pacific and in the years to come, please join us in our journey to preserve our planet's remaining natural assets. While our time is limited, our goal is true. Together, we must not fail. Thank you very much.